Ellicia Romo, and I am a senior partner, the first female senior partner at NEXA Mortgage. I have been at NEXA now almost 6 years, and I am so excited to be here with Marc Purvis, who just went over his 1 year mark at NEXA. So he's been here a little over a year. And I asked him to share some of his experiences with others because Marc not only came to Nexa with lots of experience as a loan originator, but he also came with lots of experience at the management levels, and he has seen this industry go through so many changes over the years that he just comes with this vast knowledge. And I'm so excited, Marc, to have you not only here for this interview, but have you a part of the Nexa family with me. I love working with you. I've loved getting to know you, at a deeper level over the last year. We got to experience some time in Michigan together on some business trips. Why don't you take a minute to add to that intro and share anything you want to share?
What is up, Alicia? Oh my God, your
Woo-hoo!
enthusiasm. I don't know if I'm going to even answer a question already about why Nexa, but one reason is you. I mean, you're a big reason.
Oh,
Just thank you for having me right now to, just get a little bit more information, a little bit more about why I'm here. And, I'm all about, clients. And in fact, one thing at Next I would have never thought about in my retail days was what's my tagline. So I've actually had some time to be able to invest into my business model canvas, and I'm all about home loans that move you forward, and creating really a ecosystem for clients to have the best experience, certainly in obtaining a mortgage, get the best price, be able to offer really any program under the sun. So, with all of that being said, thank you again, Alicia. Appreciate you, really do. It is cool that we've been able to cross paths now quite a bit.
yeah.
Like you said, in Michigan on some business trips, for example, or just in collaboration in general. So really, really stoked to be here and be part of this.
Oh, and at Nexa Fest in Dallas as well.
Oh yeah, did do that Nexa Fest in Dallas, and I
Yeah.
already have rumblings of Nexa Fest this year. It's like every year I hear it just gets better and better. So that
It certainly does. Sorry, I cut you off, but it certainly does get better and better each year. What were you saying when I cut
uh,
you off?
like if you ever cut me off, it's really your enthusiasm. So it's like it doesn't bother me. I mean, it's a little bit contagious, I'd say. So that's a good contagious for sure.
Awesome. Okay, will you share with us, aside from me and my enthusiasm and our relationship, and I truly believe relationships always take business to the next level.
That's right.
However, what really was the tipping point that made you decide to come on board at Nexa? Because as much as we love people, right, we always have to make decisions that we know are best for us, best for our business, and best for our family. So what
Fair.
was it for you?
What I would say is hearing, you throughout, it was probably at least 7 or 8 months, I think, that you had just continued to chop, chop, chop away. Um, and, as someone who has recruited before, in my past retail life, I certainly am just learning, right, from you. Like the follow up is really the boss, right? So your
Mhm.
boss follow up, that's a good thing. But it was probably just one of those days, right? We all have days. And I had a day. And then you had happened to just call me then that afternoon after I had a day. And I was just not expecting it, quite frankly. And then everything had ended up to the point where, hey, we know what, there's this mastermind type of deal. We'll fly you out. We'll invest in you. And it's just even those kinds of things. I was like, this is really weird. I mean, I've been in an ecosystem for 16 years at that point. I was in leadership for 5 of those 16 years. And certainly, as one of our core values at the company was frugality. investing in its employees, in that sort of way. Think about a mastermind, getting people from all over the country to come into one location for a couple of days. Um, I'm just like, that's so weird. I've just had like such a weird day. And it's like, okay, right. I'm all ears now. And I think that might have been it. It might have just been you caught me at the right place at the right time.
Awesome. Timing is often key. Timing can be everything. However, like you said, timing along with consistent follow-up, right? It just goes hand in hand. What has been your most favorite thing about Nexa so far, or about being at Nexa?
Most favorite thing about being at Nexa. So, well, here's what I would say. Every time I've made a mistake, the mistake has ended up in my favor. So, what
Nice.
I mean by that is, so I'm used to the system of, okay, you have a brand and you're here. You work for the brand. That again, that was 16 years of my career. 5 of those years in leadership. It was banging the drum for the brand, and I think that there's certainly a time and a place for that. There's no doubt, but let's be truthful here. Like as a independent, originator who has a connection now, and who's on the Nexa platform. What I've really come to find is I was so used to, okay, I have to price my loans to a certain level, and it didn't really matter what type of loan I did, but it was always about pricing to that level. And then if I was ever in a competitive situation, I had to go and find an exception essentially from leadership. And what I would say is the leadership, when I was in retail was really great. That's just I really appreciated the people I had worked with. Super conscientious, generous, just always open to having a conversation. And of course, after 21 and 22, right? So once we start seeing interest rates go back up, we found margin compression becoming a big thing. Uh,
Mhm.
so, it's like, oh man, don't know if we can do this one for you, Mark, but maybe you can go unpaid on it. And, for the client, like if that's what it had taken me to do to get the deal done, I would do it. Or for a relationship with the agent, like no doubt, like I'd take a no comp deal. So fast forward coming to Nexa, and all the types of loans we have here. You have reverse mortgages, you have DSCR loans, you have commercial loans, you have the vanilla, chocolate, strawberry of conventional FHA, as well.
Mhm.
Um, but I had to kind of reprogram myself because it's not so much about an objective anymore. It's about, okay, you have correspondent options, which I'm familiar with correspondent. I mean, that's been my life, for 16 years. So that was a breath of fresh air to know I could go correspondent. I do have to choose 3 buckets. So from the point of origination, I have to be able to decide which bucket I'm going to price within.
Mhm.
But it's also knowing that, like, okay, so I priced a loan such that there's money available, like say from Next to 100. By the way, nice shirt, Ellicia.
Right?
I swear we didn't plan this. But hey, I mean, Next to 100 is total game changer. And we could talk for hours, me about that. But then it's like DSCR loan. It's like, well, because that's a business purpose loan, it's not subject to those buckets, let's say, for correspondent.
Mhm.
So it was like bank error in my favor. As an example, reverse mortgage was kind of the same way. Or I've actually originated now some HELOC loans. And again, these are loans that are not necessarily subject to the same sorts of requirements as a conventional loan or an FHA or VA. So it's just really refreshing to know that I can still screw up, and it's actually still better, for my business. It's still better for my client, by the way. Of course, I'm willing to raise my hand and say, to my client, if I really did something wrong, it's like, hey, you know what, I own it, and I'm going to move on from this. But here we're going to also take care of you. But Nexa, in the same sense, is set up to take care of its loan officers as well. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was this much that went into it, because sort of in my experience in retail, we want to make it very much just straightforward and not really have to question too much and keep things kind of steady Eddie. I'll admit here at Next, I don't believe it's necessarily steady Eddie, but that's because there's so much more to learn.
Mhm.
So I just kind of say to myself, I'm a bit of a kind of student, I guess that's my nature. and I'm always learning. So with Nexa, it's like, okay, because I'm always learning, and certainly if I really messed it up, it's like, okay, fine, I'll own it, especially for a relationship. But it's just been several times now, like, whoa, okay, so this is a nice, this was a nice to have that I wasn't expecting, when I came on.
So I want to go back to the very beginning of the question. You mentioned about previously in retail, you would sometimes have to go to management for an exception. And how is it for you now that you get to make your own decisions on that? Like if you're going to take a haircut, you decide nobody has to tell you if you want to close it, this is what you do. Do you feel a difference in the freedom of having your own control versus somebody else controlling your file?
It's such a fair point. And then I think that's really what's come out of this whole, now, gosh, over a year with Nexa, not looking back at all for sure. Yeah, freedom, like truly running the business the way that I would like to run my business. Or maybe
Yeah.
I like the way I need to run my business. Like if I would, if I really care about a business model canvas, for example, and if you're in retail and you haven't heard about that before, that's okay. You're welcome to reach out to me anytime. As you know, Ellicia, like partnership and collaboration is a big thing here at Nexa. Um, I'm not looking just to kind of tell people something because I'm drinking Kool-Aid. It's because this is really what I've experienced. And I think that it becomes something really about who you are and how you want to run your business. And you can truly do that here, so long as you're profitable and you're compliant. And then outside of that, so if you want to focus on DSCR, a friend of mine here in Colorado, she's just like, well, actually, a couple of friends now, they're crushing it in DSCR. Uh,
Mhm.
I've met people here that commercials their gig, and I met folks here. It's like, they're maybe like me. They're sort of like, hey, they just want to kind of do whatever business kind of comes in the door and really help their. So you have that as an option here, but truly, if you really want to focus in on a certain way of doing business, be compliant, be profitable, and you're really going to be, I think, quite impressed with that.
So I know, time was limited when I asked you to do this with me, but I have two quick questions if we can answer them before you have to run. One is, I know oftentimes when loan originators on the retail side, they hear things about the broker world and going independent that maybe might not be true. Like maybe it came from their management or it came from, what the broker world might have been 30 years ago or whatever. Is there something that you believed about what would be if you made the change to Nexa before you did that maybe you've learned wasn't quite accurate and now you have like the veil unveiled or however you want to say it,
Yeah,
curtain
it's been kind
open.
of, no, I know, I get that. Well, so I haven't been in the business for 30 years, but certainly was in the business in '08 and '09. And I can just remember the programming, and it's sort of like, brokers screwed this all up. It's the wholesale, it's the this, it's the that. And of course, once you get out of 2011, 2012, it's sort of like, we were back to, I think, I don't know if normal is a word that we can really even use in our industry anymore, but it's sort of like what we would expect kind of things to look like. There wasn't a lot of dislocation at that point.
Mhm.
Quantitative easing just came, right back into the, kind of the foray, or it was introduced, I should say, back around that time. So, I go for another decade, right? And kind of riding, between leadership and, origination, production, all those kinds of activities. And, didn't really ever occur to me too much about, the broker space besides what I remember hearing back again, 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Brokers were the cause of this, and it was like this and that. And I think certainly for anyone who's been tenured and who's been in the business for a couple decades, you could probably appreciate the fact that whatever had happened in the past, like I would imagine really anyone on the scale, on the spectrum, if you will, right? From, an originator to, someone securitizing, mortgages in the secondary market. Like there are so many people that were part of that. Now we have the standards in place. We have, the structure in place. We have, so much, I think, with just regulation in general that has actually been a benefit to our industry, that it's really refreshing to be on this side. I guess, yeah, fine. As a broker, as an independent, to say that we're able to run our businesses the way we want to run our business. We can be profitable. We must be compliant. But knowing that sort of that mind, um, I don't know if it was brainwashing or what it was, but it was something that was inaccurate. And I would also probably say that there's many players in the market now, many lenders in the market now that realize like a TPO market, like what we're part of now is something that there's a lot of market share being picked up. And I think the days of the independent mortgage bank, hey, you know what? Independent mortgage banks have had a great run for what, 20 years. NEXA, I think, is the next 20 years of our business, quite frankly. So
I
the
got
fact
to
that,
agree.
well, I believe that, and no one, you didn't tell me that, by the way, with all vinegar, Ellicia, you didn't ever say it, but I would say that this is the future. So if you want to be Google, there's nothing wrong with being Google, by the way. Like if it's 2004 or 2005 and you're Google, it's like, that's a great place to be. If you're Google in 2025, 2026, that's a great place to be. But what are we all talking about right now? Now we're talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, do you want to be at the front of AI for the next 20 years, or do you want to be there in 3, 4 years, or 5 years, or 15 years, and realize what possibly you may have missed out on because I was just so, I don't know. I think I've used this before with you. It's like the horse. You have your blinders on. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
what you don't know, right? So you really have an opportunity now to be, I think, at the front of what our industry will be as an originator, let's just say, for the next 20 years.
So, do you have enough time to tell us if you could give one quick piece of advice to loan originators out there that maybe haven't met you yet or haven't talked to you about business? What is one solid piece of advice you could pass along?
Rip those blinders off. Don't wait for a rainy day. Um, don't wait. Don't procrastinate.
Right.
I mean, all the times, you know what? We'll talk to our clients. Hey, you know what? Interest rates and this and that. And we just got a little bit of a dip. I mean, that's been 2025, basically. We had, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 moments throughout the year where we did actually get, a substantial, improvement. And then, of course, if I call my client and my client says, yeah, Mark, I really, really, yeah, you're a good guy and I've got your newsletters and stuff like that. But then XYZ already reached out to me.
Oh, yeah.
And it just gets you right here. It's like a dead, right? So I don't want that to be for anyone, especially for that, seasoned professional, loan originator that has been someplace for years or decades for that matter, because there literally is a whole nother side of the equation. It's a side of the equation where there's a lot of momentum building. There's a ton of market share being um, earned by wholesale channel. And I'd also say, by the way, that with that, if you're, again, tenured retail loan officer like I am, or I say I was retail and now I'm over on the wholesale side, I want to say about still over 90% of my business is correspondent. So that was really, I think, that put me over the edge, quite frankly, when I came in to NEXA back in, November of 24. And I think NEXA had just introduced correspondent probably in like March of 24.
Mm-hmm.
And it just keeps getting better, right? Just have more partners. I remember back in the retail days, I'm still trying to get out of my vocabulary with that idea of an investor. No, partner. So we have partners,
Yes.
and we have partners with Nexa. We have funding partners, and they're willing to invest into our business instead of investing into the business of this just large company, large IMB, for example. Why not keep your business practice the same, change your platform to Nexa, and then have money to invest into your brand, into you? Because let's face it, that's, I think, what our financial planners, what our CPAs, what our real estate partners are really going for, is they're going for that partnership, right?
Yes.
And
And Nexa 100 gives you that money to invest back into you.
100%. I mean, really, it is an Nexa 100. The company at that point, all of the revenue is is available, right? Let's just say for me as a loan officer to invest in, right? So I have that marketing allowance, which it's amazing, how much it really can be. And then going in hindsight, how much the independent mortgage bank, let's just say, would retain. And let's I'll be very clear here too, and I'll say that the IMB deserves it because the IMB has built the platform, they have the structure in place, they have the leadership in place, they have programs and products and all these things in place. Essentially here we don't necessarily have the leadership, although what's been interesting is this year there's been many executives that have been added into Nexa just based on the size of the organization. But
Yeah.
what's wonderful is we still haven't changed anything about being able to run our business the way we want to run our business, as long as we're profitable and as long as we're compliant. So as Nexa continues to grow, I think there's more of a focus probably now than at least the last 14 months, I could say, on quality. And I think quality is really an important thing. That's a differentiator, by the way, to the retail loan officer, is that they care about quality. They certainly care about being authentic and having alignment with their partners.
Mhm.
Next is a platform where you can do just that, and you can end up retaining more of that for your business, so that you can, come in and continue to serve your clients very, very well.
Well, great answers. I'm so excited again that you're at Nexa, you're continuing to thrive at Nexa. I love seeing your growth and seeing you do just incredible things at Nexa. So keep it up and it's just amazing. And thank you for making the time to be on here with me today. Really quickly, throw out your phone number, your email, any way
Totally.
if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they reach you?
Yeah. Thanks, Ellicia. So, Marc Purvis, and my number hasn't changed since my Chicago days, 312-523-9693, mpurvis at nexamortgage.com. And you can check out Next Steps, homeloans.com, thetruthaboutretail.com. So those are some sites as well where I put some information out there. Listen, you can't ever judge a book by its cover, but you can certainly, provide a little bit of the story. And I think that the opportunity and the platform that you can provide to tell your story, I mean, that's really what I think our clients really need, right? And then as far as your career, don't be afraid of it. You do a great job of storytelling, Ellicia, so you're inspiring to me in that. And I've found that I've become a little bit more open-minded, I think, in the past, year, 14 months, whatever it's been, to start telling my story a little bit more, because I think that there's a lot to be said for that, and a lot to be said for
Yes.
where we've been. And there's nothing wrong with where we've been, but it's like where we're going now. Like that's the
Yeah.
exciting. And it's like, and then, you truly have people that we can connect, I can connect with you whenever I need to. There's folks locally, there's folks across the country that I've met just as a result of going to, conferences or going to NEXA
Mhm.
Fest, whatever it is. I mean, it's really, really an interesting place that I think, again, if you can take those blinders off, you can rip those suckers off and just do it. You will probably certainly feel the way that I had felt, which was this is too good to be true. That probably
You
last.
know, but
That's
this is why it's important to tell your
yeah,
story because there are people who are where you were, and your story will motivate them maybe to even like walk in your footprints or alongside of your footprints, right? And you never know who you're going to motivate, who you're going to inspire, and whose life you might change just by sharing your story.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's, I think, cherry on top right there is, yeah, you share your story, you can really change your life. So don't
absolutely.
just let what you've been through, or go get them. There's no, not necessarily. It's like you might just have to take yourself out of that situation right now, and you may have to just really. I mean, and now it's hard for me. I mean, away from all of this, positive vibe and energy and stuff. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a skeptic. And I've told you that many times, Ellicia. And I would think that a lot of loan officers are probably that way. We're wired a little bit differently, and we're definitely used to, having to kind of be, certainly on at all times, but also
Hmm.
still humans at the end of the day too. This is
Hmm.
a platform where you can come and you can be human. You can do the right thing for your clients. You can do the right thing for you and for your families. You can certainly have a lot, I think, to look forward to as our industry continues to thrive.
Yes. And as you said, Nexa is a win-win for you, for your family, for everyone involved. If anyone needs to or wants to reach out to me, my number is 602-989-2939. You can find me on any social media platform. Thank you so much, Mark. I'm so excited and I look forward to an amazing future together.
You got it. Thanks, Ellicia, and everybody have an awesome year. Let's go get it.